Coming back here, we are continuing to talk about the NBA free agency. We just dove into Paul George being signed by the Philadelphia 76ers. We have a comment in the chat from Kenny saying Jared McCain winning Rookie of the Year. I think it's going to be tough for him to get his touches to be able to statistically take it, but I definitely feel like he's one of the best players in this rookie class, alongside another first-round pick, actually went right behind Jared McCain, in Dalton Knecht, who was drafted by the Los Angeles Lakers, and that's what we're going to be diving into next here, because LeBron James over the weekend declined his player option, making him a free agent. Now, everybody expects him to be back with the Lakers. It would be kind of insane for him to get his good friend JJ Redick hired to be the next head coach, to have the Lakers draft Bronny James in the second round, and then for him to just say, I'm good, and head out. He is going to be back on the Lakers. I have no doubt about it next season, but it is a conversation as to what the price tag is going to be on LeBron, because something that he has been unwilling to do for, a decade plus now is take a discount to remain with his team and help the front office build up a roster around him. And that is on the table for LeBron, who is going into his age 40 season and understands there is some level of desperation for, if he ever wants to, be a main piece on a championship team. These are his final years, obviously the final years of his career as well. And it is very interesting to see how this is going to play out for the Lakers, because, it sounds great that LeBron does have this on the table, that he might not take the full max deal, but the Lakers also have to prove to him that they are going to make a deal that would be worth him taking reduced money. Now, one of the names that has been thrown out there is DeMar DeRozan, who has been in the NBA for, a decade and a half or so at this point. He was in one of those, 2009? Drafted over a decade ago, and has been one of the most prolific scorers in the NBA since then. And I know that might sound like overstating it a little bit, but really he has been extremely consistent no matter where he's been from the Raptors days. And something that is also, I think, impressive with DeRozan's game is his development in the playmaking department as well, since his exit from Toronto, when he was with both the Spurs and more recently with the Chicago Bulls. And it sounds like the current contract negotiations between DeRozan and the Bulls are not going great up to this point, and that also DeRozan was going to be waiting for this Paul George signing in order to see what the market looks like out there for, somewhat similar players. Paul George is, I would say, a slight tier above DeRozan at this point, but still comparable in many ways. And ultimately, I would say that for the Lakers, he is somebody that I would look to add. Now, it's not the perfect fit necessarily. One of the biggest things, of course, with the Lakers that we've been talking about is the fact that their spacing is not really on par with a lot of their competition, just the absence of a lot of knockdown three-point shooters. And that's not exactly something that DeRozan is going to add to your overall offensive game if you are bringing him in for the Lakers. And pairing him up alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis, who LeBron had the best three-point shooting season of his career last year, but it's still not like he's a, somebody you are frequently going to look to. Our best option is getting a LeBron James 3. I think that plays a lot more off of him driving and seeing if they can just generate a lot of good looks for the team in its entirety. And that's been an issue for the Lakers, is the fact that they haven't been able to knock down these open shots. Now, another part of this Lakers equation, And I thought they did a pretty good actually, against the Nuggets in the first round. But when they won in 2020, it wasn't because they were this unbelievable shooting team. It was because they played defense. And obviously, losing Jared Vanderbilt halfway through last season plays an impact on the overall level of defense for the Lakers. But it goes obviously just beyond one player. The Lakers have been weak defensively as an entire unit. And I'm not sure if DeMar DeRozan necessarily brings that either. It's an interesting fit that I would definitely take into consideration, especially if LeBron is putting out this offer of, trying to be open to taking a pay cut, assuming you are going to put a good enough player around him. I don't know if he necessarily has the respect for sort of that second tier of players in terms of, are you going to go out and get Miles Bridges, who I actually do think would be a pretty good fit with the Lakers, but I can't imagine that somebody LeBron feels great about taking a pay cut for an exchange. And it's just, we've seen, there really aren't that many great top-end options in this free agency class, so I'm not sure if there are a ton of moves for the Lakers to make. Now, Klay Thompson is on the table as well, and that's something that we're going to be diving into shortly here, but that doesn't even necessarily fall directly in line with this idea of LeBron taking a pay cut, because Klay could even play on the mid-level exception on a one-year deal that would be a separate entity from the overall salary cap. And I know in this new era of under the new CBA, there is a lot of confusion in terms of how the salary cap actually works. So very briefly here, just for the sake of putting it out here, the overall cap number is $140 million. If you are under that, you can make any move whatsoever. The luxury tax is $170 million, which means that you can go up to that number. You are able to sign players that are already under contract with you, but it's not like if you are already over the salary cap, you can't go out and sign a player from another team. And then the first and second aprons at $178 million and $189 million, both of those points have increasing handicaps that will be put on your team to restrict being able to build out a roster, including the ability to trade certain draft picks and how your draft capital overall is impacted. You aren't allowed to get players in the buyout market. You can't add up two contracts of cheaper players to go and trade for one player on a higher salary. There's just a number of different things in this scenario. The Lakers do have a trade exception for, I believe it's $12.9 million that Klay could play under this season, but that doesn't even include the overall salary cap number that would impact LeBron and how much money he was going to take. So that feels like it is one of the best options on the table for the Lakers, and it very well may be one of the best options for Klay Thompson, who is expected to leave the Golden State Warriors. Contract negotiations have not gone well, and it sounds like the Warriors are either going to let him walk straight up, or they're going to try and help facilitate a sign and trade deal for him to get him to a destination that he would like to be. So we're going to be diving into all of that drama next, but before we do, we have to take a quick break, so don't go anywhere. We will be right back.